Hey YouTube, and thanks for watching Junkworks Garage. Well, we got the 2011 Razor 800 EFI, and it's time to put a belt on it. It's very jerky. Every time it takes a little while for it to get going, and then, you know, every time you stop, it takes a while for it to get going. It's real jerky. It drives okay, and I don't smell or feel like it's slipping or anything when we're just going. But anytime I'm going really slow, it's like you have to either give it more gas than you want to or ride the brakes and the gas at the same time to just try and keep it from just going. I don't know how else to put it. So it's almost like it's catching too well. But I have a feeling it is the belt, because that seems to be what I hear most of the time when you have that problem. So first of all, you got to take out your seats. I've done the seats and take out this panel right here. Trying to keep the time down, I've already done that. Now, if you don't know how, you reach in the middle of the seat, pull up on a little plastic piece, and it pops the seat out. This right here, you just turn this. Actually, it's like half a turn, and this little thing pops out, and you pull that off. It's real simple. So if you can't get this far, you probably shouldn't be going any further. Alright, next thing we need to do is actually take out the seat right here, or not the seat belt situation here. It's a bar that goes across that's under that the seat belt's attached to. And I would say these are 19mm or 3/4. I'm going with 19mm because I found what I needed. Now, I've done a video, I don't know, not sure if I'm putting that one out, but regardless, I'm trying to use the tools that I know I'm going to have with me to do this kind of stuff, in case, like the belt. The belt very well may break while I'm riding this, and I'm going to need to be able to do all this. And my thing is, can I take that toolkit right there and do everything I need to do? There's definitely not a wrench that's big enough. I will say it's lacking in wrenches. I'm not a big fan of using the crescent wrench unless I absolutely have to. So I got this 19mm 3/8 socket wrench in here, and I can fit that down. Got a 19mm here, which I'm loosening. So there we go. I should be able to pull this off. Alright, so we got the nut and the bolt. There is a bunch of electrical stuff here. It appears they did most of their stuff right here. I'm going to definitely check all this stuff out, but there's fuses and relays and all kinds of stuff. And down here appears to be, I don't know if that's kind of the starter solenoid of some sort, probably is what it is. But there's a bracket here that's totally in my way, and you don't want to be touching anything that could have power going to it with a metal thing and then grounding it out to this. So, unfortunately, a crescent wrench it is, it looks like. Now, yet again, I would not normally use a crescent wrench in this situation, but because I'm making sure that the tools I have will work in a pinch if I'm on the side of a trail somewhere and I need to do this, I want to know that the tools I have are going to work. So that is why I'm using a crescent wrench right now, if it'll work. And I can actually bring my hand, hopefully you can see this, but underneath the rocker area and kind of guide the wrench in as well. Plus I'm going to go ahead, and I know it's the same size, so I'm going to get it kind of close. And hope that I can get on it with the wrench. So now I know that'll work. I'm going to take the easy way out here and finish this off. Which undoes that right there. Next thing is this air box thing that goes into here. Allows it to not get too bad. Boy, I tell you, this was not tightened up, it doesn't appear at all. Like it wasn't even snug. So And I have noticed, I believe there's a missing bolt here, so I'm gonna have to figure all this out, see what didn't get taken care of last time this happened. Could be they opened that up to look at it and decided they didn't want to change the belt anymore, and that's when they sold it. Who knows? And we should be able to just pull that off. Right now, we're just gonna kind of put that up there like that. Yet again, I think there's a 10 millimeter, or actually, mine are 3/8. I don't know what the difference is, why some are 10 and some are 3/8. Mine appears to be a 3/8 one. And I'm just going to start popping those loose. I'm going to take the wobbly off. I don't know if I need the wobbly with a 1/4 inch ratchet at all, but yet again, I've watched other videos and that seems to be the consensus, but I don't know as I've seen any of them using a 1/4 inch ratchet, which really does make life easier a lot of times. So I'm actually going to put one back up in here just to kind of hold this up a little bit so it's not falling over. And this is the one that I think was missing. I'm pretty darn sure. So I want to see if this will actually go in to something, or if it's stripped out, or what, if there's a reason why this one didn't get put in other than the fact it's probably down there somewhere, because that seems fine. I'm going to just kind of snug that up and go for these ones on the bottom now. It appears there's 3 on this side, 1 in the middle here, 2 up top, and 1, so 3 over here on the towards the top, and then 1 down here, which I'm sure you can't see, down here, and then there's 1 right up the kind of this side but in the middle. Now I can lean over here. Oh, there's 1 gone. Let's see. Yep. No. Oh, no, it's there. Right at the bottom, right here, right straight down, but all the way back. This one, I may be taking off this extra extension here, just using the long one. Definitely glad I'll have this in the kit. So that's all of them. Yep. Thank goodness that's easy to get to, because I keep doing that. So now I need to disconnect this one up here. Yeah, definitely get yourself a 1/4 inch socket wrench if you're going to be working on one of these. You can get to every one of these really easy that way. And then this should, in my theory, pull off, but it's difficult. We'll see. Here's usually you pull this up here and bring this up and back here, and then bring it towards me. That was not that hard. So bring it up like that, then tilt it sideways through here. Getting it on might be harder, but getting it off wasn't so bad at all. This belt does not look horrible, unfortunately. Alright, I'm actually able to see pretty good through this way. I'll make sure everything's kind of off of here, and I got it in park, and I'm gonna go ahead and run it real quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this thing up and kind of look at it here. It definitely looks like it's running bad. I got it in park. So I don't know if I can get you in there enough and light it up. But you can tell that that belt is definitely running towards the front here, and there's a bit of a gap right there, which means that needs to come forward. So I've also watched a video that there should be some shims that you can put in there. Unfortunately, that means I'm probably gonna have to go buy or find a shim to put in there. And I don't know if you heard it, but it definitely sounded kind of like a knocking noise, but it doesn't sound like motor. And that's, I also have watched some videos, and this seems to be a place where the knocking can come from. And I don't know if that means the clutch is going bad, or if it could just be that belt has been riding like that and that's the problem. Either way, belt's got to come off, so that's the next thing I'm going to do. It's a 6mm, in case you want to know what this hose clamp is here. And I went ahead and took a bungee cord, which is also in the back of my rig here, put on there and just strung it up to the bar up there just to kind of get that out of my way. And now we are going to go ahead and try and take this belt off as if we were in the field and needing to do it. Keep in mind, this is my very first time doing it, and I've seen people take these and squish them together, and when I saw it looked kind of good. In fact, I'm going to put a pair of gloves on. And again, this is my first time, so here we go. We're going to try it out. The one I like, you take it and yank on it. We'll see what happens. I'm just pulling on it and kind of turning at the same time. And then I'm gonna, hopefully you saw enough of that. I just yanked as hard as I could on this and kind of pulled, and now I'm gonna squeeze these together and pull some more, and then this should hopefully, in theory, come off of here. Alright, well, I tell you what, so far this has been much easier than I thought it was going to be based on videos I watched. So I guess that's a good thing. Something I should have done and should have told you before I took this off, I should have marked this. Now, I got my torque wrench here, so the first thing I'm going to do, just because this thing's making noise, is check and see if it's actually torqued down where it needs to be. And obviously that's going to turn. I also, at the ready, have this. Now you want to go through the big area here. You don't want to go through the small area. And we'll just bring that through there for now. In fact, I don't want to get onto this stuff. Now they do make a tool specifically for this. But a lot of people do this. I see a lot of people do it just with regular pry bars and things like that, but I figure the wood is probably better, but to each their own. So it's definitely saying it's at 40 foot-pounds. So I'm going to start this up, see if it still rattles. I have a feeling it probably will. But we're just going to see what happens here. Definitely still rattles a bit. Definitely need to blow it out because there's crap in it. Also, I have come to realize there's no seal in this. And no seal on this as well, so that's something else I need to order. There was definitely no seal in there, and there was a couple bolts missing, or at least one. So there you go, now you know. The next thing I need to order up for this is that seal. Well, we are over here with the driven clutch here. And on this particular one, it's not like a lot of the ones where you can use tools on them. It's some sort of toolless type one. On this one, it appears with a 1/2 inch or 13 millimeter probably, I should be able to pop this off, I hope. Yeah, they're not very tight. I think it's like 14 foot-pounds, but don't go by that. By the end of this, I will probably tell you what mine says, but if yours looks any different than this, it might be a completely different way of doing it. So pay attention. If yours has the rollers here instead of just some pins here, it is a different setup, and it might be a different way of pulling this on and off. So you pay attention to that and get a book. So we got that bolt out, and in theory I should be able to pull this off. In theory, there we go. And it came right off. There's a bit of rust, or maybe anti-seize compound, or a bit of both. Anyhow, that came off fairly easy. Now, I have been watching some videos from that, I think it's Hunter Works. They do belts and clutches and stuff, and he calls this the junk clutch. And also he says that there should be a plate on here, which there doesn't seem to be any access to screw a plate on there to hold this in. So the only thing holding this in is this right here. So some of these might have some screws here with a plate on them, and those are better than this one even, it seems like. So unfortunately I got the worst of the worst ones. But we're going to go with it because it's what I have. But there are two shims here. And there's my problem I'm having here. The reason I'm even doing this is that I noticed the belt needs to come out, or this needs to come out to make the belt line up. So I got my shims here, and I'm gonna zero this out. It's in millimeters. Let's go to inches actually. I don't know if you'll be able to see the numbers in this thing or not, but we're gonna work on it. And looks like 59 thousandths, so I would say that's a 60 thousandth. 56, 57, 56 and a half thousandth. So yet again, I would say that's probably what they're considering a 60 thousandth. And the first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and blow this thing out. I'm going to put a dust mask on. I don't know what kind of stuff might be coming out of this. Well, I'm back with secondary clutch here. Now I was going to actually pull this apart and take a better look at it, but quite honestly, I've had this thing pulled apart for a couple weeks or more now, and I'm ready to be done working on it for a while and get to playing with it. So in that case, I am going to go ahead and take some alcohol, a gray Scotch-Brite, and clean it up. Yet again, this is something I've seen several people do, but you need to decide for yourself. Do you want to use a gray Scotch-Brite sandpaper or nothing at all? That's completely up to you, but I'm going to use a gray Scotch-Brite and scuff it up some. Been looking a little bit closer at this, and there's an X here, but the X is over here. So I think this is like one tooth off from where it's supposed to be balanced. So if anybody out there can tell me that, I've heard that those X's are supposed to line up, and mine definitely don't. So that is something that concerns me a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and we'll get the gray Scotch-Brite. So now we got the same gray Scotch-Brite here. I'll fold it a little bit down. Yet again, have the alcohol is what I'm using. Yeah, I didn't do too bad. I see a little bit of tooth in it. Alright. So here's where I don't know what happened in my head, but I got everything backwards. I don't need to add shims because it's already riding on the outside part. For some reason I had it in my mind it was riding on the inside part when we started taking this apart. I don't know, but I watched the video already that when I was taking it off, and you could see it was running on the inside part or on this edge over here. Now I went and bought a bunch of shims, another 60 thousandths and a bunch of, I don't know, 28 thousandths or something like that. Which, if you need to space it out, I went to my Polaris dealer, and this whole bag I got 3 or 4 shims, one 60 thousandth, and I think 3 or 4 of the smaller ones for less than 10 bucks, or around $10. Off Amazon they were a lot more than that, so that's something to keep in mind if you need to do this. But unfortunately I believe I need to take them out. Well, I know I needed to take a shim out. Now I'm not sure if taking a whole 60 thousandth out is going to be too much, maybe, and I may need to shim it out with some of the thinner ones, but I'm going to start out and just have one shim here. I'm going to put this back on, I'm going to torque it down, we're going to get the belt back on, I'm going to start it, and we're going to see what happens. So that is what is about to happen, I hope. Hopefully we won't need to put any more on. So I'm not sure if my torque wrench was right. I had trouble with these Harbor Freight torque wrenches. I admit they don't have a great audible click. This is my inch-pound one, which is like 204 inch-pounds. This one's that goes to 200. So I'm going to try this and see if we get maybe there, right there. That felt better. So, you know, you might want to give it a little bit more. But I definitely feel I over tightened it with my other torque wrench, so I went ahead and backed it off. So there we go. I'm happy with that. So now it's time to put the belt on here. We're going to put it around here, not killing it. And I got it marked for the direction it needs to go here. And I'm going to stick that down in there, and in theory we should be able to run this on, but we'll see. So I grabbed my little hammer here, and I'm going to use it to kind of push down. I'll tell you what, I'm going to have the tool for this anyway, and I'm thinking in the long run that would make life easier. It's just a bad idea altogether. If this was a brand new belt, I don't even think I'd want to think about it. But I want to see if I can do it. You know what? I'm going to get this right here and pound it in with the hammer.
it again. This is my tool for when I do this clutch, and I probably will have it with me. Alright, there we go. That was a lot better. And then I'm just going to use this. There we go. Oh, that was no fun at all. And then you want to go counter clockwise several times, it says. Make sure this is riding where it needs to ride. They tell you that looks like it's riding, at least right now, better than it was before. It's not hitting either side. Now I've chalked the tires from this thing, hopefully moving forward or back. I'm going to use a stick to jam the brake on here, and it's a little longer than I wanted, but we're going to use it anyway. And we're going to start this up because we've messed with the alignment here now. So if this is grabbing one way or the other, it could, even with it in park, kind of try and move things around from just what research I've done. So we're going to start it up and hopefully it'll stay. I'm going to put my foot on the brake and put it in neutral and then drive. We'll see what happens. But I will say, I think this is riding better by taking that out, actually. So that makes me happy. I think we're going to ride with it like this for now. So I got this off Amazon. I couldn't quite tell if it said it was the right one or not, but I don't have one here to compare it to. So there's the gasket there. I'm just going to stick this in. I'm not going to put anything on it for now as far as gasket maker or anything like that. These are very much in the way here. And there. And I don't know if it really matters. Where there's a flat side and a rounded side, I'm putting the flat side in for now. I have no idea. Yet again, I didn't have the original one to go by, so I'm just kind of assuming by how it kind of looked like it fit on that front cover there. And I will be honest, I don't have my skid plate on down there, and it's going to be way easier for me to lift this thing up and do it from the bottom. You're going to have to fight it down on the bottom. I'm just not going to. I want to get this thing back on the road, so I'm going to do it the easy way. At some point, I may regret not trying to do it from here, but I'm getting tired of working on this thing, and I'm ready to ride it. Well, that appears to have fit pretty well, so I will put a price, and if I can find the seller in the screen somewhere. Now, I also did, once I got it all the way around, I went ahead and just kind of took my finger and squeezed it in there so it's nice and pretty well flush all the way around. And so we'll have to see if this gets it the rest of the way in here. Now, here goes the other part that seems to be difficult for people, but I didn't have as much problem pulling off, but the belt was harder to get on too. Alright, so there's that. There we go. Definitely go at an angle in there. So straight down, kind of at an angle, and then pivot it this way. That seems to do the trick. Definitely did not find it too difficult to get this on or off, which is nice. So there's all the top ones. Yet again, the bottom ones are going to be easier from underneath. I pulled them off from the top, so I know I can get them back on from the top. Just a matter of getting it done now. So I'm going to go down underneath, finish buttoning these up down there, and then I'm going to tighten them in a sequence, kind of a star pattern, back and forth a little bit at a time to hopefully make this squeeze in onto that gasket. And as you may notice, it is outside now. And although it is a little easier, it's not quite as jerky or jumpy. It's definitely better to drive slower, but to get going and to drive really slow when trying to let go around the corner behind it here, it was very jerky as I was trying to get around. But once I got to the point where I could kind of go in a straight line at a steady pace, it definitely isn't quite as jerky there. It kind of idles along pretty well now, so it's helped some, but it definitely didn't completely fix the problem. I do think maybe I need to put my new belt in, and hopefully that helps. If not, I'll have to do some more adjustments or looking at things. Could be that clutch needs some work as well, which at some point I'm going to do that, tear it apart, take a look at it, see if it needs some new parts. But until then, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you got something out of it, and I do think it helped some. Well, get out there and get your junk working. Thanks for watching Junk Works Garage, where I'm proud to say I'm a jack of all and master of none. You all have a good one.